Okay, guys, so want to do something slightly different, all on lockdown. And so as I was going through my computer, tidying things up, doing things, found some old sermons, and so just want to revisit some of these notes. I don't know how many times I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to keep it short, edit it down, so it's going to be about 5-6 minutes, 7 minutes. There you go, 7 minutes, rough and ready, straight off my head. And so all of these sermons are going to be on relationships. So we're basically going to do a love life lockdown, or lockdown love life. Some of these sermons are old sermons, and so let me put that there. I don't need that anymore. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is Boys to Men. Some of you remember this. I believe this sermon is about 10 years old, and so I feel old. Just saying that, I feel old. We're just going to go over the notes, so we're revisiting the notes of this sermon, and so it's Boys to Men. And so the whole principle was, obviously in the 90s there was this group called Boys to Men, and so what I was talking about is moving from being a boy to being a man, and that's one of the critical things that you need to make a relationship work. You need to basically develop and become a man. Okay, I had to shut the window. There was all types of things going on. Okay, so 1 Peter 3 verse 7, likewise ye husbands dwell with your wives according to knowledge, giving honor to the woman unto the weaker vessel, and being heirs together with the grace of life, so your prayers will be not hindered. And so what I was speaking about is, to do that, you can't be boys don't do that. You've got to be a man. It's time to grow up. It's time to move on. If you want a relationship, you want to progress to those things are for men, they're not for boys. And so we understand little boys date and do little crazy things, but that's not God's plan. That's just the world's messed up plan. And so what I spoke about was, there are two types of boys. There's the male chauvinist, and then there is what they call the snag. Now, it's not I didn't make that up. A snag is a sensitive new age guy. And so the male chauvinist, let's talk about the male chauvinist. Are you the male chauvinist, or maybe you're dating a male chauvinist? And so we started with the rude boy. The rude boy is defined by his name. He's both rude and a boy. And so that's not the type of guy you want. He's got to grow up. He treats women like they're men. He's, yeah, what's up, blood? And you ain't quite got it yet. You keep treating women like women are different than men. He says in the book of Peter, dwell with your wife according to knowledge. Understand what's happening here. And so, it's not deep expository. It's just simple wisdom the Bible gives us. So the first was the rude boy. The next one I mentioned, remember this is 10 years old, so forgive me, is the gospel gigolo. Gospel gigolo means that here is a guy who is always kind of flirting with women. He's always around women and always talking to multiple women, but he never really commits. This is the guy who's always calling you on the phone, texting you, but won't speak to you in church, won't speak to you in public, and he leaves you feeling a little bit unsure of where the relationship is. Bro, you could be a gospel gigolo. Time to move from being a boy to a man. The Bible brute. In the book of Jude 1, it speaks about men becoming like brutes. And so here is a Bible brute. This is a guy who knows his Bible and sit down and do Bible studies and all of those things. But there's something happening where your knowledge is not changing you. Your knowledge is not affecting you. And there's just, you know the Bible, but it's just not helping you. And so you got to progress, or it may offend. Pentecostal Pimp. This is a man who, I put this one in there because in every church, from time to time, there are these men that come into the church, will bypass any strong women. If there's a strong woman there, no, I don't want that woman. He's a predator, basically. And that is a weakness of you as a man, that you always are attracted to the weaker woman. That means that you're a weaker man. There's something in you that's broke. Pentecostal Pimp. That's kind of, that's a bit roughneck, but it's 10 years ago. I was roughneck then, not as refined as I am now, by God's grace. Okay, so the other side of it is, so that's the smell chauvinist. We have the other side of it, which is the snag. And so nice but dim. And so here is a guy who is nice and quiet, but no vision. And so the woman is constantly looking for that guy. What's the next move? And you don't really know. And what does the Bible say about this? And you don't really know. And so here's the guy, women meet this guy and it's like, so how's things going? What's it like with this brother? And it's like, oh, he's nice, pastor, he's really nice. And so, okay, yes, good, he's nice. What else? Where do you guys click? Where do you get on? It's like, he's nice. He's nice. It needs a little bit more than just being nice. It's nice to be nice, but you need a little bit more. We have the people pleaser. Here is the guy that will just yes there, no there, anything you want there. And again, some women are attracted to those type of guys. Just like the Pentecostal Pimp is attracted to the wounded women, some women are attracted to just this people pleaser guy. He'll always just say what you want, how you want, whenever you want, and he's doing everything you want, and you get what you want. But in the long run, they don't cover their families. And so when things happen in life, this guy really gets exposed. Hidden things under the surface of this person's character. Because in life, you have to confront things. You have to deal with things. Even in Galatians, Paul had to speak to Peter and say, listen, certain things are not going right here. We have to do that. It's a man that will never stand up for anything, never confront anything. In the long run, you do not want to be that guy, and you do not want that guy. Mr. Insecure. This is the guy that cannot be corrected, cannot be discipled. As soon as you disagree with him, he throws the toys out of his pram and he acts like a little baby. It's just a very, very unpleasant characteristic. What I'm saying is we've got to move from being boys to becoming men. And so we don't want to be like Peter Pan. Peter Pan is never grew up. Just flying around in green tights, never grew up. A woman doesn't want to marry Peter Pan. She might go watch it, but she doesn't want to marry Peter Pan. Your mum put up with that, but your wife doesn't want to have to put up with that. And so to grow means we got to let things go. To grow, you've got to let some things go. You've got to put some things down. You've got to put some games and old friends and old ways and certain things you've got to put down and let them go. We understand. The Bible says when I was a child, I did childish things. When I became a man, I put aside those childish things. You've got to start to take responsibility for yourself and for who you are and your character development, and so that you become a man. Maybe you see these things in your character. You know what? A lot of these things I'm talking about were they were part of my character. I came into church totally jacked up, totally insecure, totally lustful, everything on this list. You can't kid a kid up. Really, what I'm saying is we can go from boys to men, and that is God's plan. And so discipleship is one of the main things we're going to see. Is an amazing tool that's going to help you to grow as a man. If you want to go from being a boy to a man, discipleship. Any man that circumvents, goes around discipleship, will always pay the price later on in his life. Pay for it in his marriage, or pay for it in his ministry, or whatever. But you cannot sidestep discipleship. You need it. Jesus says, go into all the world and make disciples. And so some of the qualities that you need, it's going to come through discipleship. Other men teaching men. Who's discipling you? Who's teaching you? Who you're accountable to? Discipleship is not like becoming that man. Discipleship is learning what makes that man that man. That's what discipleship is. Discipleship is not me making more Courtneys. So we're trying to give you Christ. We're trying to make you a devoted follower of Christ. When you become more like Christ, you become more of a man. Jesus did not want to make you a religious Peter Pan. He wants to make you a man. Jesus is the epitome of what a man is. So the more you become like Jesus, the more you become a man. Jesus is the perfect man. Adam was the first man. He failed. He lost his manhood. Jesus is described as the last Adam. He came to redeem mankind. He came to give us back our manhood. And so when you're in Christ, God's going to restore that manhood, take you from being a boy to a man. Even if you grew up without your father, there's men in the church that can help you to become a man. Jesus teaches us courage. He stood against the world. He can stand against the enemy. He puts courage in you. He was willing to lay down his life. Jesus teaches us discipline. Jesus was disciplined. Prayer life, Bible reading, finances, words, relationships with other women. And ultimately, Jesus brings us closer to the Father. And so a man who knows his Father and is got the character of his Father, he himself will become a better man. Coming into a church where there's discipleship, where Christ is being preached, where I can have a relationship with the Father, he can imprint manhood onto me. That was the sermon, Boys to Men. Let's make the transition. Hopefully it blessed you. the next one is going to be, are you a jewel or are you a fool? Peace.